Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using stock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by The Plain Truth, Right the Hand, Pumpkin, Paul, Chocolate, Brenda, Arwin, Apollo and 10th Man. Very good to have you all.
Good
Hello,
afternoon.
hello, what ho?
Hello.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey guys.
So any actual signs of Earth curvature?
Yes.
Excellent.
No.
No.
Do you want to show us,
Go
Brenda?
for it, Brenda.
We're going to have a struggle
Yes.
with the word show again.
Ships going over the horizon
Ships.
demonstrate Earth curvature. Sunsets
Hold
demonstrate
on, just
Earth's
one at a time.
curvature.
Ships going into the distance is a demonstration of perspective and the
No.
angular resolution limit of any given optical
Yeah.
device. Sorry, Brenda, was that you interrupting me? You get 3 strikes on this show, Brenda. You interrupt me more than 3 times, I'm just going to kick you out. So, boats disappearing into the diffraction limit is not a demonstration of Earth curve. It is, however, a demonstration that the effects of perspective have been called Earth curve. So what we see in these turbines here is linear perspective, not a curve, not a squared function drop, but linear perspective. As we would expect, items get smaller as they get further away from us until they eventually reach a limit where they disappear. The most limited angle that you will observe is at the bottom of anything, and it will disappear first into the diffraction limit. So this is a very real fact of life that is completely ignored and in fact hijacked by any assertion that boats go over the horizon, when in fact they disappear into the diffraction limit by virtue of perspective. So that's absolutely not a demonstration of Earth curve. It's a demonstration that you can beg the question, assume Earth has a radius, and then assume that that radius value is actually what's the cause when a geometric representation of the reality we see through an aperture of a camera is misrepresented by using whole actual sizes rather than angular sizes, which is how we observe things. So no, Brenda, that's not a demonstration of Earth curve, I'm afraid. Sorry. Any other demonstrations of Earth
That
curve?
was complete nonsense. There's no such thing. Diffraction limit has nothing to do with perspective, and perspective has nothing to do with the geometry of the Earth.
Yeah, it does. If you're looking at anything, geometric or otherwise, and you're looking at it in reality, it will always have the effects of perspective applied. Always. Not nothing to do with, but all... And that's your second strike. Always applicable. Don't bully me here, Brenda. That's the second time you've interrupted me. Can you not do that, please?
I didn't interrupt you.
Yeah, I heard you and watched your mic dance up and down, so yes, you did. That's another lie by Brenda, the girl who goes around deleting files that she doesn't own and claiming she's got quotes when she hasn't. This liar on the panel has interrupted me twice so far as I pull apart her assertion that boats go over the horizon when in fact they go into the diffraction limit, calculable based on the aperture using the Rayleigh criterion, an absolute fact of life that she has declared has nothing to do with the geometry of Earth. Well, if we're observing it, then it absolutely always is applicable because perspective is a way of life. It's a fact that you can't get around if you're looking at something, Brenda. So to say it's got nothing to do with it is idiotic at best.
What is diffraction, Nathan?
Interference.
No. That's not what it is.
Hello?
Yeah, Brenda's a fuckwit. She doesn't know what the word
Yeah.
diffraction means.
No, I'm asking you.
I've told
What
you.
is a diffraction? What
I've
is
told
the
you.
diffraction limit?
Interference. No, that's not what you asked. You asked what diffraction was, and I said interference, which is absolutely what it is.
No, that's not what it is.
So would you like to correct him for all of us?
Diffraction is a phenomenon that occurs when, for instance, light, which is a wave, encounters an obstacle.
Light's not a
And
wave.
it diffracts.
Right, so
It
that would
diffracts.
be interference, right? Counters an obstacle. Right.
That's
I
not
think
interference.
You've
obstacle.
summoned the chimera now. Hey, John.
Hello.
How you doing?
How's it going?
Very well. So far, Brenda's decided to assert that diffraction is not interference and that light is a wave.
What is diffraction, quantum eraser? What is diffraction?
She also said that DNA is made of amino acids too. So
What is
She
diffraction?
also
What is
said words
diffraction?
are models.
it's
Let's
what?
see. Hold on. Let's see
If you,
let's see
hey
if we get
Brenda, if you just click Paul,
let's see if we get a different answer.
you can
Go ahead,
see it.
ask your question
Yeah.
again, Brenda. See if we get a different answer.
What is diffraction?
Interference.
Quantum eraser.
Sorry, can you repeat that, John?
Interference.
It says accompanied by. That's not what diffraction is. That's a consequence.
Interference. All right,
That's
share my
a-
screen. Let's end this.
That's
Let's end
the
this
effect
crayon
of
munching.
diffraction.
Tell me when it's up.
The process by which a beam of light or other system of waves is spread out as a result passing through a narrow aperture or across an edge.
Yeah, you're up, John.
It does assume
Yes.
wave.
And typically accompanied
Excuse
by
me.
interference.
Thank you very much.
Interference is the effect.
Excuse me from Richard Feynman. Nobel or the Feynman lectures. No one has ever been able to find the difference between interference and diffraction. Satisfactorily, it is question of usage. There is no specific important physical difference between them. Bye-bye, lard ass. You're a clown.
So it's interference, Brenda. You were wrong. You gonna have an ounce of humility?
Interference is when waves, like light waves, right, overlap each other.
So Nobel Prize winner Richard Feynman is wrong, according to this fundy zealot idiot named
Yep.
Brenda.
Yeah.
That's what she's essentially saying. Richard Feynman, Nobel Prize winning. No, he's wrong, is he, Brenda? When he makes it very
I
clear.
don't know. You cherry pick quotes. I don't know if they're true or
Cherry
not.
pick. Yep. Yeah. Where's the cherry pick?
Just sorry, only on the last show, Brenda claimed to have a quote from me. Then after I pointed out that she hadn't got a quote and had completely misrepresented me, she said she could go away and get a quote. Yeah? Piece of shit, degenerate, scumbag, lying bitch. That's what she does when she says she's got a quote. Now, for the second time, let's have the quote from Feynman. So I'll stick you back up on screen, John, if you can just repeat it once more.
Yeah, let's take a look at this. From the Feynman lectures, no one has ever been able to define the difference between interference and diffraction satisfactorily. It is just a question of usage. There is no specific important physical difference between them. Now, she charged me with cherry picking. That means that she would have already had to read through this document.
Would you like me to refute your claim, quantum eraser?
Sorry, you want to refute Feynman?
Yes.
Okay.
Ah,
if I have two sticks in a consider a smooth pool of water. I'm
I
going to
love your
illustrate it
sticks,
with
man.
waves, and I have two sticks in the water, and I vibrate them, both creating waves. The waves will create an interference pattern. That's not
okay,
diffraction.
listen. She would have
That's
to,
not
if she
diffraction.
charged me with cherry
That's an
picking.
interference
Hold
pattern.
on with your sticks nonsense. You would have had to have already read through this document and then know where, how, and what I cherry picked. So have you read through this document?
No, all I have to do is have.
Then why, how in the world can you charge me with cherry picking? You don't
Because
even
you're
know
an
what it
idiot.
means. What does cherry picking mean?
It means that you selectively pull quotes out of context in order to
Okay,
create
that's
different
correct.
sense.
That's correct, right? So now you have to go in here and then show, or already have it because you charged me with cherry picking. You would have already had to know this. So share her screen, pull it up.
No, I can show you by
Go ahead,
demonstrating
right now.
interference
She hasn't
without
listened.
Right
diffraction.
now.
She hasn't listened.
I
She
can
hasn't
show you
listened.
interference
You haven't,
without
you haven't
diffraction.
listened, Brenda. His example is where if you are to charge him with cherry picking, it means, as you point out, that he's taken parts of the text and put them out of context. But that would
Yes.
automatically mean that you know what's in the text and the context of it, but you haven't got the vaguest clue.
No, that doesn't follow.
Yeah, it does.
No,
I'm
it doesn't.
What do you
very
mean it doesn't
It does,
follow?
Brenda.
phones.
It
I
does.
just have to
Come on.
You're a
It-
retard.
explain. I just have to understand the concepts
No.
involved and to
No.
show you the
No.
contradiction in the claim that you're making.
No, you don't.
And I
Cherry picking, you
I
just
can do
said that
by
you
the
would have to have
example.
the
I can do it by
context
the example.
of what it is in,
Right.
and you would have to show how I pulled it out of its context. Do it. Do it
No,
now.
I have to show you a contradiction. I could throw two stones into a pool of water. They
Oh,
will create
you're a
an
friggin'
interference pattern.
Hold on,
retard.
They will
Brenda,
create
Brenda,
an
Brenda,
interference
Brenda,
Interference
Brenda,
pattern.
Brenda,
It's not
Not the
Brenda.
same context.
Owen, hold on. You said the word context. What does context mean, Brenda?
the general sense or meaning of a text or a speech or a book.
So you'd have to know the context then of the statement, book, right? And you haven't.
No,
You've never
not
read it.
necess-
You don't
not
know.
necessarily.
Now you're talking over me. Is that strike three, Brenda? Well, I demolish your point using the words you've used in this instance. Context.
Here's
The circumstances that form the setting for an event, statement, or an idea. Yeah.
Here's what we got.
So you haven't got the context, but you're charging him with cherry picking, taking something out of context.
Yes. Because
There she
I
is.
understand the basic
There she
concepts
is right there.
involved.
You're being
And I
a
can show
severely
a
pedantic
contradiction.
troll, Brenda.
I can show a
Very
contradiction.
It's not pedantic.
And-
Pedantic would mean she's got a point.
Okay. Right, not pedantic then. You're just being a freaking troll. You're
So
you're
so
you're,
the
you're on purpose misusing the context of words.
no, I'm not.
Yes,
the
you
question-
You
are.
have me on
So the
screen.
question
Yes,
is,
you're
there's difference.
specifically contorting the meaning of interference out of the context of
Yeah, I've
the
had
thing
you
we
clown
were
up.
talking about.
Oh, you had it up. Okay. Yeah, this is what we
Generalizing it.
got
It's
right here.
ridiculous.
This is her.
Between interference as
That's
the
it.
consequence of diffraction and interference of 2-point sources.
Oh, sure.
She
Whatever.
just said diffraction interference. So the thing that she literally denied about 5 minutes ago when I gave her the very specific answer, the same answer you gave, same answer that Feynman gives, now she's worked it in to her explanation as though it's perfectly acceptable to charge us incorrectly with not understanding what diffraction means, like so many trolls that come to my comments and ask me what diffraction is, even though they don't actually appreciate that the context of diffraction is where you hijack perspective and call it Earth curve. That's why we're talking about diffraction. We've gone way off track. But that's why you asked me, what's diffraction? When I specifically detailed how boats disappear into the diffraction limit. And they do. Yeah? No
Yeah,
Earth
that's-
curve. Question
don't.
one that
No, they
you've just obfuscated. And now, is that you talking over me again, Brenda? How many times are you
Oh,
going to bully me on this show?
That's why I want to debate you on a neutral channel,
Oh.
Nathan.
Oh, that's why.
Go Google
After I
yourself.
point out that she's just talked over me, she says that that's why she wants to debate me on a neutral platform. How telling. How telling. Yeah, you want to talk all over me. Yeah, I get it.
Because you filibuster. That's why.
Filibuster? What? Let me get it straight. I say it's interference, which is absolutely correct. John comes on and backs me, then goes and gets a quote from Feynman that backs me also. Then you work it into your explanation like it's acceptable to say, no, it's not interference, which is what you said. You're just wrong, but you've got no humility. And you're going to say that I filibuster.
Right, and then she charges me with cherry picking, but she's never read the document. She's never been here.
Then
never.
she also claims she's got a quote from me, never manages to put it in quotation marks,
Right,
makes
just
shit
a
up on
clown.
the spot, and then claims she's being bullied.
Yeah.
She doesn't
I'll
know
debate
what the
with
cherries
Quantum.
look like.
I'll debate you, Quantum. I'll debate you.
Oh, jeez, oh man.
Why
I'll
did
get
you
my
delete all
12-year-old.
Why did you delete all of Crow's
Brenda, what
files,
color
Brenda?
are the
Why did
cherries
you delete
that
all those
John's
files
picking?
that weren't yours, that had nothing to do with you, that you got access to and then just deleted, even though they weren't yours? Were you abusing
I'll
and
debate
I hadn't
Quantum
quite
Racer
finished, nearly.
anytime.
Were you abusing and bullying the owner of those files, which wasn't you when you deleted them? Were you just attacking him?
So ships disappear over the horizon, not due to
It's not the question. Why did you, a degenerate piece of shit, scumbag, liar, fraud, why did you delete someone else's property that you did not own and had nothing to do with? That's the question. Why are you a scumbag? That's what I'm asking. Why would you claim victim status when you're going around deleting people's work? That's what I'm asking.
ships go over the horizon.
That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking why you, a degenerate scumbag piece of shit, goes around deleting people's work and then claiming victim status.
So that's irrelevant to this discussion.
Yeah, it's relevant because you're the aggressor. You go around abusing people, talking over them, deleting their work, and then claim victimhood when your argument gets taken to pieces. Because that's the kind of piece of shit you are.
Nah. So the question is about...
No, the question is, why have you deleted all of Crow's files from a Google Drive that had nothing to do with you, you gained access to, and decided you'd destroy its work? You are the aggressor. You claim victim when you are the aggressor. You're the one going around deleting people's work. Aren't you, Brenda?
Yes, I deleted Crow 77's files on...
So you're a scumbag piece of shit that goes around claiming victim status when you are quite happy to admit that you're deleting other people's work that you've not put an ounce of effort into other than to destroy it, set it on fire, burn it. But you want to claim victim.
Brenda
Yeah,
thinks
Brenda,
Brenda thinks it's
Bre-
okay because if somebody leaves their front door open, you could walk in and rob them. So they left their front door open, so it's perfectly okay, right?
Yeah, but if they came around and punched her in the face, she'd be the first to claim that she was the one being abused. Even though someone's caught her red-handed, thieving from their house, yeah? She'd claim, oh, you've beaten me up. Yeah, you're in my fucking house trying to steal from me.
Are you crying, Nathan? Are you crying? Are you claiming abuse?
No, I'm saying you're the aggressor. You are the degenerate piece of shit that goes around talking over people continually and goes around erasing people's work. That's you.
Are you crying? That's
Do you
not
still
yours.
have your ovaries?
What kind of shit argument is this? Are you crying? Let's just stick myself on camera so the audience can see that no, there is no tears when I point out that Brenda is a degenerate scumbag piece of shit who goes around deleting people's work and then cries foul and cries victim.
Nathan is crying.
Go
Are you
back to the
crying?
Jose Clown show.
Yeah, she's a clown. This is her
Go
argument.
back. Yeah, go back to the Jose Clown show and then ask that gimp panda if he's found any natural experiments with birds humping yet. You friggin' moron retards, man.
Quantum,
Get out of here.
I'll debate you anytime, and I'll destroy you.
I'll get my
That's why you're
12-year-old son to
Brenda,
rub your
you
nose
are
in it.
hot
Friggin'
garbage.
moron.
Get out of here already.
I would
Seriously, you
absolutely
have no
destroy
arguments. You have no model. You have nothing. Brenda, bounce.
No
Get out of
coherence.
here.
And please, in your debate, can you show how DNA is amino acids for us, please? God, you're a schmuck.
Brenda, just debate. Stop saying you'll debate and do it.
She's dropped. Did someone kick her?
Yeah.
I wish I had.
I'm trying to adopt a no-kick policy so that when these degenerate scumbag liars who go around deleting people's work come on the show and claim victim status, we can expose them for the scumbags that they actually are. Hey, who's that? Lone Hyena. Thank you very much for the super chat.
She was getting very ugly and was making me get very ugly, and yeah, she had to go.
Shut it, hyena.
Whatever it is.
Oh, there's a gap on the panel now if someone else wants to join. Better the devil you know, if you ask me. Just never know who will come in their place.
That I can't stand the utter arrogance and it's just.
No.
I would like this troll
acting
raving
like-
mage to come in here.
She was
He's been
literally
talking so
just
much
going
shit.
in a mode of bullying a little kid, and when I hear somebody do that, that literally makes me want to kill them.
Especially
Because
when
that
she
is one of the most vile things you can socially do to anyone under any context. I can't
Exactly.
stand that, so I just kicked her.
Yeah, I understand.
And I may
totally
have
get
said
it.
some really bad things, sorry.
The worst thing you can ever do is stoop to that person's level. That's why, when I was in that debate with her and I think, it was P whatever. When they were both getting on me, I had to just leave. I couldn't keep dealing with it. It was just too stupid.
That's one of their tactics, is to trigger you. They know they have nothing, so they'll be perfect. If I was just calm and collective but said nothing, and you would ask me a question and I just calmly deflected, and then the other party naturally is going to be like, why aren't you answering the questions? You're just frustrating me. And then that's what they hope happens. So then you do that, then they can say, oh, you're getting mad, you're this, you're that, and then they can declare themselves the winner.
Yeah, it's the only tactic they have if they don't have a winning argument.
Hey Nathan, you got a super chat. Read it.
Yes, shout out to Paraplegic Bear. Ban this Brendan guy, absolutely hilarious. Yeah, no tranny bashing. Yes, Brenda's transsexual. Doesn't make any difference to her crap arguments for the globe.
Really?
No, none. Who cares?
No, but did you get any confirmation, or it's always been vague to me, whatever she is, or.
But who cares what she is? She could be a horse.
Well, that would be kind of difficult, though.
That was actually funny.
Her English accent is way too good for a horse.
Could be an English horse.
Could be.
Well, she never got to the point of validating her argument. And Nathan, you told her 3 times, I'm going to kick you. She went past 3 times and Arwen just took the realm.
I always got loads of telescope questions and I always forget what they are when Apollo's actually around.
Oh, hey.
They'll come to me. I'm sure I've got a whole list of them. I should really write this stuff down.
What's up, Apollo?
Hey.
That was the question. From your telescope, can you see the hexagon on Saturn?
Well, from the one at the observatory. No, it isn't that good, unfortunately. No, it isn't good enough for that.
So I could safely assert that even the very, very best, even if you were super rich and you had a superb domestic telescope, you're never going to see it. I'm not denying that it's there, by the way. I do actually think it's there. I just don't think, the smallish, even the one yours, you can't call that scope that you use small, can you?
Well, it is possible to see with something like a 12-inch telescope. Of course, it depends on the quality on your camera, on your seeing conditions. But it is possible to see with a telescope of several $1,000s, I would say, on a good camera and Maybe filters will help.
Sure,
yeah.
but you're aware of it, and I've got someone in the chat. Vinny says, "So Nathan religiously believes in the hexagon." Right? No, I'm reasonably convinced based on the images. I could be proven wrong. It could be a complete sham, but I don't think so. I don't know if you agree with me on that, Apollo. I don't know if you've ever seen it either.
Not myself, but I've seen photos of it taken with terrestrial. How you pronounce it? Terrestrial telescopes.
Yeah, ground-based.
Terrestrial.
Yeah, terrestrial ground-based. Yeah, just a
Yes.
normal scope on the ground looking up at the sky, not Hubble or something, Sophia or whatever.
No.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wait, so that
same here.
So
I've
let me
not
ask,
seen it
so
with my own
that
eyes.
hexagon,
Again,
that hexagonal storm has been seen from
no,
regular
not the
ground-based
storm.
telescope?
No, not the storm. Something else. It's
Talking about Saturn,
Oh, okay.
not Jupiter.
yeah. We're talking about
Yeah,
there's like a hexagon shape on the top of it.
Right, that's what I mean. That's been seen by ground-based telescope?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
But just not domestic
Really?
ones, if you like.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
you can actually see it tilt over the years because if you would make a time lapse of like 20, 15 years, you would actually see the entire planet tilt. I've seen one of those. It's really cool. So maybe in the next, 20 years, we won't be able to see it because it has turned its hexagon away from us. So if you want to take, maybe in 20 years or so, I don't know how many degrees it tilts every
Well, they
year.
could just fly a satellite by it and get the backside, right?
Yeah, but that wouldn't be ground-based. So that wouldn't be ground-based. You
Oh,
can't
that one.
just.
Yeah,
Also wouldn't be
obviously, yeah.
reality.
Hey, listen, I got a question for you
Can I have
since
to
you're
follow something?
since you're semi-rational, and you're a baller, correct?
Yeah.
Can you share my screen, Nathan?
Sure.
Let me know when it's up.
It'll take me a couple of presses so that the guys in the hangout can see it. Just give me a sec.
Okay. It's Apollo, right?
Whoa.
Okay, you should be presented to the hangout and the audience now.
Yes.
Okay, Apollo, are you familiar with Soundly's causeway bridge proof of a curved Earth?
I think I am. Isn't that this really long bridge that he photographed and it had all kinds of weird effects where it appeared to bend down or something? Yeah,
Yes.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, they had a whole bunch of surveyors out there, and they were all holding each other's willies, congratulating themselves over a picture that showed the curve of the Earth. Are you familiar with the religious tenet that every point along a tangent from your feet falls? That means vertical drops away from you at 8 inches per mile squared.
Yeah,
You familiar with
isn't it
that?
like some religious sect somewhere?
Yeah. It's called the spinning Baltard religion. So we got this Lake Pontchartrain on here. We got the causeway right here. You're seeing this, right? This is the bridge he's talking about,
Yeah.
right?
Lake
So what I'm going to do
Pontchartrain.
is, having said all that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go near the shorelines of the south side of the bridge. And what I'm getting here is 1, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 3, 4 feet right along here, right? Guess what I'm going to do next?
On the other side.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. You're a sharp one.
Are you gonna do something with lights or something?
I'm not going to do anything with lights. I'm just looking at the elevations of the shoreline by the bridge, right? So I'm going over here. I got 2, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. So, do you see the problem?
What are you actually 2, 3 what? Are you talking about
Feet.
multiple
Feet. So
Okay.
the elevation on this side of the bridge is 2, 3, 4 feet, and the elevation on this side of the bridge is 2, 3, and 4 feet on their respective shorelines. So, taking what I said before about the 8 inches per mile squared and the vertical drop, how can these two elevations be the same if the bridge is curving?
Good point. Maybe they compensated for that during the construction. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the bridge. I'm talking about the shorelines. I'm not all that concerned. So you're saying the bridge may be curving, but it's on a level playing field.
Maybe.
That's interesting. I never heard that. So it's actually not a globe Earth proof. It's a curved bridge proof.
Yeah, maybe. I can't really picture it. So, yeah, good point. I haven't thought about that.
Okay, that's all I had. Thank you very much.
So, so you measure the height of one end on the other end, depending on how high one of those points is from the ground.
Yeah, the shorelines. Each respective shoreline. North, first, south.
All right. So maybe it could be that just the shorelines are different on
Different
this
what?
different heights on this
No,
makes it
they're not. I just showed you they're not.
Oh yeah.
That's okay.
All
That's
right.
all I had. I mean, you don't have an answer. I'm not good. I just wanted to point it out. Thank you.
All right. Good job. Right. I've
I
been
got one more.
thinking
I got one more question. Sorry, quick question. Do you know that level is flat?
level is flat.
Yeah. Did you know that
Level
level and
in
flat are synonymous? That is, level is flat. Flat is level. Did you know that?
maybe level in what context?
In the context of the definition of level. Level. Is my screen still up?
No, but it can be.
Doesn't level mean perpendicular to the surface?
No, it means flat or level. See, level from Merriam-Webster, it says to make a line or surface horizontal, make flat or level. They're synonymous, right? Flat, flush, plane. Level, flat, plane, even, smooth means having a surface without bends or curves or irregularities.
All right, sure. Well,
Right.
English isn't my native language, so I'm not
Yeah,
really
that's
good
okay.
at.
Yeah, no problem. I just wanted to point that out. That's all I had for you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, have you been working on anything, Nathan? Any things coming up?
Yeah. One thing with Ranty, I'll shout out Ranty. I think we're going to be doing a Ranty-a-thon tonight, hopefully, about 8 p.m. UK time, about 2 p.m. Central. So over on Ranty Flat Earth channel. But also, John's been working on something which he told me about last night, which is quite interesting. Well, very interesting. And I'm hoping, with the help of Adam and Ranty and John himself, hopefully I won't have to do anything at all, but we'll get some great content out of it.
All right, so you are having some guests on at some late night show.
Yeah, for Ranty, but that won't be on this channel. That'll be on Ranty Flat Earth.
All right, that's cool. So
he's also considering natural experiment with birds humping. I think he's considering that. I think he's just laying the groundwork right now.
I don't know how I feel about that, but all right.
It's a reference to Gem Panda.
Maybe we could do
Panda.
like a complex hypothesis and have bird humping and bird landing.
I know that can't do.
And supernatural birds
Can't
nest.
do that.
Bird
I
landing,
like to ask a
supernatural
follow-up
birds
question.
nest, birds humping. We've got all sorts of crazy stuff with birds from
Yeah,
the
sure.
callers. What's going on?
I just like to ask a follow-up question. Since you're an astronomer, or at least you look up in a
Well,
telescope.
no, I'm
How
not
can
an
you?
astronomer. I'm not
Oh, you're
an
not. I thought you might be
astronomer.
an amateur.
We'll just for the sake of
You're
this,
an amateur.
you're as good as close as it gets for us.
All right, sure, I guess.
Okay, I have a telescope. I'm consider myself a bit of a really very amateurish and or less towards not amateurish astronomer. But how can you, through pure observation, determine the nature? Like we're talking about Saturn a second ago, and you can see this thing up there that has this hexagonal shape on top of it. How can you, through just pure observation, determine the nature of that thing?
Well, what do you mean by nature? Like what it is made out of, or what it looks like, or what do you mean by nature?
Well, then just any of it. So I can, from looking at it, I can see there's shapes. I can see that it's giving off light. I can see there's potentially color. But does that tell me any more than just that? Or is there anything else you can infer? I guess is the better question. Like what is it that's causing the light? What is it? We've been told that it's a gas giant. How would we, through pure observation, determine that that's a gas giant up there?
Well, I'm not sure if this has been done, but I guess you could do it. Because if it was, so let's say you have a star and you know the spectrogram of
Oh, you better be
this
careful before you jump off a cliff there,
Oh,
friend. That would be very careful about the next things you say.
Let him assert it. Come on, carry on.
So let's say you have a star and you have this spectrogram of a star, which means you know what kind of light it gives off. For example, how many red, how many blue, how many ultraviolet, whatever. And if then Saturn or Jupiter or some other planet, moon, whatever, passes passes in front of this star, then you can see the change in the spectrogram of the star right where the um, atmosphere of the planet meets. And then you can, for example, how do you call it? Depending on how the spectrogram changes, you can determine what the atmosphere is made out of, because we know which elements reflect and block certain types of light more and less.
Paul, you want to let me
We
handle
can
this?
actually
I'll make it quick.
do this. The observatory where I do some stuff, just for fun, actually has a spectrometer, so we can. It isn't very precise, but it is possible to make spectrograms from stars.
Okay,
Thank you.
So in
Thank you.
short, spectroscopy can determine what it is.
Paul, you want to take this, or do you want me to end this really quick?
Well, just the
You can. You probably do it quicker than I can.
Paul.
But I was gonna.
We heard your answer. Thank you.
I mean, if you use it, I'll just ask this question, and John, if it's not where you're going, you can finish it. But if you're using another star to determine, which is a celestial object, to try to determine the nature of another celestial object, you have to know the nature of that one celestial object that you're using as your baseline. Would you not? So you have to know that the light being given off is actually
No, you don't, Paul.
No.
Okay. Paul, yeah, let me take over. I'll end this quick. Apollo, do you know the difference between terrestrial spectroscopy and celestial spectroscopy, please?
Well, I guess with terrestrial just things in just things on Earth or measuring things outside of Earth from Earth. I guess some differences would be we have an atmosphere on this, has how do you call it, interference on stuff. So you would have to account for interference uh, depending on where you take the observation. Because once the light passes through our atmosphere, it will, of course, be changed.
Yeah, and then there's supposedly a vacuum, correct?
Outside, yeah.
Yeah, so you got a big problem with that, right? Well, I'm looking for the certain. There's one assumption in celestial spectroscopy that is not a player in terrestrial spectroscopy, and it's kind of a big deal. You need to go find out what that is. Maybe we could talk at another point. But there's a difference, a huge difference. Also, are you looking at emission or absorption spectra?
Sorry? Say
I said,
again.
also, are you looking at emission or absorption spectra? I
I'm
know
not
they're
sure.
different sides of the same coin, but it's important.
I haven't used the tool myself. It was made by somebody just quickly. But
Right. You need
yeah.
to find out those things because they're kind of important. So, like I said, there's one big assumption and difference between the two, and it's a game changer. So
Is it
maybe we
about
could talk
the
at some other point.
baseline? Because we don't know we have to assume some kind of baseline of the light or something.
You have to assume Kirchhoff's law of thermal emission. I'll just give you that. Maybe you can go look that up, and next time maybe we can talk.
All right, thank you.
I'm not going to dog you out, man. You seem like a reasonable chap. So just go look at those things, and we could talk later. Thanks.
Hey Pete.
All right.
How you doing?
Hey, were you talking to me, Nathan? Welcome to me.
Is that Pete talking? Is he just really quiet?
Yeah, that's me. Let me just check my volume.
Try again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's perfect, Pete. Good to have you.
Thank you. Apollo, what do you reckon? What do you reckon that a telescope is essentially a microscope? So instead of vast distances into the infinite reaches of the universe, you're actually looking at a fixed, well, what are you going to say, a container, a screen that's of a very short distance away. Have you considered this? Have you considered anything outside of the views that you seem to hold dear?
I don't think so. The optical design of a microscope is inherently different from a telescope. So I don't think that would be able. I don't think that would work.
So just ask the panel a question. What do the two have in common then? If they're fundamentally different in terms of how they operate, which is absolutely true. Obviously, one's looking at stuff that's far away, and one's looking at stuff that's right in front of you. But what brings them together? What is the commonality between the two telescopes and microscopes?
Both use glass. Both bend light onto a focused point using the properties of glass, or in the case of a photographic lens, it uses different shaped glass elements. A telescope is usually simpler. It uses a mirror that has been polished down to a very specific shape that reflects the light in such a way that it focuses.
I was thinking all those are true. Very well done, good list. But I was angling for something very specific that we talked about earlier on the last show. I'll just tell you. They both have a diffraction limit.
Well, yeah, both inherently have a certain aperture where the light has to pass through within the optics.
Right.
So that's a commonality, of course.
So you'd use the same exact mathematics to calculate said diffraction limit in a telescope or a microscope. It makes no difference. The Rayleigh criterion applies equally to both.
All right.
So the point at which things disappear, based on the limitation of your aperture, calculable in the Rayleigh criterion, is applicable in a telescope. So there is a limit to how far something can be. Now, as a consequence of that, we end up with these astronomically large bodies of light claimed to be stars. So when you're looking at Betelgeuse, it's enormous, right? Well, no, it's just a tiny little dot of light in the sky. But based on the heliocentric nonsense and the limit that it would disappear if it wasn't enormous, it has to be enormous for the mathematics to work out. But there's no assertion, bringing us back onto the point with Saturn and spectroscopy, that there's no actual validation of that. It's just an assumption and the necessity for its size based on the mathematics.
Right. Well, I don't think the diffraction limit has such a big effect as you think, but I haven't gotten the lenses I need to test it out. I may rent a very expensive Nikon lens just for that. Something like a 300 millimeter f2.8, which if you want to buy is like $4,000, but if you want to rent it, it's about 150 for a week. So I might try
I
that.
have another quick question.
Sure.
It's not about the economics of lenses. Can you, when you look at Saturn through the telescope, can you see depth? Because
Well,
you called
you
it a
would
planet
need.
before.
Well, you would need two telescopes next to each other because you only see depth with two eyes. So you would need two massive telescopes. So that's going to easily double, if not triple the price of the observational equipment. But
Thank you. Thanks. That's
I
all. That's all I want to know. Thanks.
don't know if you can see depth because the how do you call it? As things get further and further away, um the sensation of depth gets less and less as things get further and further away. So because the difference between two, because if you have something very close, right, its location between two lenses close to each other is very great, right? But if you have something further away, the difference, the parallax between two lenses gets less and less as objects get further away. So I don't know by how much.
Sure, I think
Thanks. Thanks. That's a really good explanation. Sorry, Nathan, I stepped on you.
No, I
Go
was
ahead.
going to just back up what you said. Essentially, what you're saying is without binocular vision, you don't have depth. There is no depth without binocular vision.
Yeah. One last question. I like this explanation. I thought it was really well done. Just one more question. One small question. You, you're an amateur astronomer. Astronomer. I heard somebody else say that earlier. I was laughing. I think it was you, by the way. So, are you an amateur astronomer or are you professional?
Well, I'm not. I'm neither really. I just look at nice pictures. I'm subscribed to a amateur astronomy website for the Netherlands. And there are some really amazing photos, time lapses of the sun where you see these solar flares. But I don't take any photos myself, or I don't have any equipment myself.
Okay, that's not a dig on you. I was just wondering. I have a question. Do you understand that you can't have a vacuum next to an air pressure without a physical barrier? So my question is, How can you have gas pressure like here on Earth without a container?
This is a really common thing on the show. I think the common
Thank
globe
you. I
Earth.
appreciate.
I think the common globe Earther, explanation has something to do with gravity on the on the magnetosphere on the magnetic field of the Earth, and but I can't really go deeper into it. I'm not an astrophysicist, so I can't really help there.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks.
Can I ask you a question now? So you said earlier the diffraction limit, you don't know if it comes into it. So I just want to see if I can get a few concessions out of you. None of these will be trick questions. So if you're looking at a brick and it's about, let's say it's, I don't know, 100 feet away, you would agree that it's got a particular angular size, right? Would you agree?
Yes.
And then if you get further away from it, the angular size will get smaller of that brick.
Yeah, you have arc minutes and arc seconds in angular resolution.
Exactly. The smaller the further the distance, the smaller it will measure in arc seconds.
Right.
Until eventually, when you get far enough away, it will disappear completely. Would you agree?
Well, I guess it would, but it also depends on contrast, because a object very far. So let's say you have an object very far away. If it has a very low contrast with the background, let's say a black brick in a black wall, right? You won't be able to notice
Fair
this
enough.
black
No, I
brick.
agree. Okay, I'll start again. So we'll have the sky as the background. So we'll assume it's either a shade of white or blue, depending on the day, but nice and bright. And the brick is black. Okay, so there's never going to be an issue, and it's perfectly lit, so there's never an issue with contrast. But eventually, you will get to a point where the angular resolution is just too small to see. You would agree with that, right?
Yes.
So eventually, you can back far enough away that the dick. Why am I saying this?
What are you
the tongue.
talking about?
That the brick.
It's a Freudian slip.
Because I'm thinking of the next word, which was disappears. So the brick disappears. The dick disappears. Does it?
Is it because I is blick?
So yeah, so
it's a common problem.
I'm going somewhere with this. Come on, I know I've done a slip, but yeah, nevertheless,
it's a common problem among the English.
Indeed. So you would concede that eventually you get far enough away, the brick goes because it's too small.
At one point it will, but this is a really big number.
Sure. So if you're
I thought you were going to say something else.
If you a really big dick, if it's a mile away, let's just say for ease, so it's a nice big number. We're not talking a few feet. We'll push it to a whole mile. Yeah. And you've just got a little compact camera, so we'll assume a nice little aperture just to force the effect.
Yeah, then I don't think you will be able to see a brick.
Right.
Against the sky, no.
Yeah, it's just going to be sky. The brick's too small to see. But if you were to have another brick on top of it, would that make that second brick that you've built on top of suddenly visible?
Well, you would have increased the total size of the object. So it might be easier to see, but you won't see one brick or not see the other.
Right, so what you're saying is it doesn't change the bottom angle. That's still too small to see. But because we put another brick on top, the brick that's on top has increased the overall angular size, so you might see the brick that's on top, but you still can't see the brick that's at the bottom.
Oh, you beautiful bastard, you.
Well,
Where'd you get, hold on a second, Apollo. Did you just come up with that?
Yeah.
I disagree, Nathan.
I'm impressed. That's really good. I want to hear the answer to this question. Sorry for the interruption.
So we've got one brick that's still too small to see. It's a mile away. It's not going to grow in angular size if you put another brick on top of it, is it?
Well, you would just see
One brick.
if you know it will. If something is that far away and you can't see a single brick, and you put another brick on top of it, it increases the total size of the object. So you might not be able to see individual bricks, but you might now, due to its bigger size, be able to see a black dot.
I see. So we can see a little bit on top of the original brick, but not the original brick.
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, let's try a different example. No worries, I'll change the example slightly. So now we've got one brick that's too small to see. Next to it is two bricks, a bigger angular size. So, so can we see both bricks?
Well, if you can see a single brick, I don't think. Well, if you can see a single brick, up next to it you have two bricks. It doesn't suddenly increase the resolution of your equipment.
No, I agree. Okay, no. So what you're saying is there's a reasonable chance that if you can't see one brick, you won't see two bricks. What about if I put 20 bricks on top of that first brick? Could I see it then?
But then you will see a very large black spot, but you still won't see individual bricks.
So let me get it straight. The bottom brick can't be seen, but the bricks on top of it with a larger angle can be seen. So effectively, a mile in the distance, the bottom brick can't be seen, but the bricks on top of it can.
Well, why is it...
I don't need a question, I just need a concession. Don't be Weasley. We've already conceded the bottom brick's too small to see. It's not coming back anytime soon. It's too small. Now we can pile 100 bricks on top of it, and I'm pretty sure we could see the 100 bricks on top of it, but not the brick at the bottom.
angular
You're
size
done for, Apollo. Just go ahead and concede, brother.
Complete
Don't.
nonsense.
I'm telling you, just dig the hole
Angular
deeper
size
for
doesn't
yourself.
care about direction.
You're just digging the hole deeper for yourself, brother. This can be reconciled by a second grader, but that's a beautiful argument, Nathan.
He trapped you nice, man. He got you.
I know we've talked about this before. No.
I don't think so. I haven't heard this before.
Well, we've talked about...
yeah, we actually have talked about this before, yeah.
We've talked about the bottom disappearing so long time back. You know, the bottom disappears.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this specific argument that Nathan just put forward.
But that's basically the same principle. You know, the bottom disappears first.
You know what? We did this before with Zinder.
So this is lovely.
We did this with Zinder.
So we're still not getting to the end though. So we've got a brick at a mile. It's too small to see. We put, let's call it 500 bricks on top of it. That doesn't make the bottom brick any bigger or easier to see. It's still disappeared, hasn't it?
Oh,
because you've increased the angular size, it might be easier to see now.
Yeah, but it's still not going to bring the bottom brick back.
Yeah,
why?
So that's why I changed the example. Hold on, that's why I changed the example. So we're putting on bricks on top of the second pile. The first pile, one brick, is still too small to see, isn't it? Now next to it, we've got 100 bricks with a bigger angular size. Yeah? But we still can't see the brick on its own though, can we? The bottom of the pile on the left with 100 bricks has got a single brick next to it that's still too small to see. It's still in that tiny little angle, isn't it, Apollo?
No, if you can see a singular brick due to its angular size, you will never see an individual brick, even if you have suddenly 20 bricks.
No, red herring fallacy. You have to listen to his question.
I am.
Okay, so you're saying, so hold on. So I've got a high-rise building made of bricks, next to this single brick. And you're saying I can't see the individual bricks that make up the building. Yeah, that's true. But I also can't see the bottom brick at all, can I?
Oh, so that's what you are asking.
So if I've got I've built it up to a high-rise building made of bricks now. I'm still at a mile. I'm pretty sure I can see a high-rise building at a mile, but I can't see the bottom brick because the angular size is too small, as you've already conceded, Apollo.
So why are you? Why is this angular size thing you're talking about selective at the bottom? It isn't.
Yeah, because there's a claim that bottom of things disappearing is caused by an obstruction due to Earth curve. But as you've just ably agreed and conceded, the bottom of stuff can just have too small an angle to see it. But the stuff above it can still be seen because it's got a bigger angle. So the bottom brick, being the bottom section of a building perhaps, is gone due to its angular size and absolutely nothing to do with Earth curve obstruction. The only reason that things disappear from bottom up, according to fundy zealots who believe that they live on a sphere. And with that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, as I smugly smile and round out this live show, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. However, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, unfortunately, this is where we bid you farewell. A massive thanks to all who tuned in. Also, of course, a massive thank you to all of today's debating panel. If you need to keep yourself occupied after the live stream is over, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!